hey, Sean, this is, we'll say, the third video of these creative exercises, and this is spray painting with at least a couple of colors. And I'm not putting in here what to spray paint. Maybe you want to spray paint an object that already exists. Maybe you want to spray paint on a piece of paper. I've done both. And this is one where when I did it, I had so much fun that I ended up buying a ton more spray paint, and I've done a ton of these, I've done like 6 or 7 like thoughtful spray paint arts, which is not something I ever anticipated doing. And it started by watching people do these space paintings. If you've seen those elsewhere on YouTube, there's a guy named Casey Van something, I think. But I love his stuff, and it's approachable and it's encouraging, and he makes cool looking stuff. And I kept looking at him like, I'm watching him do this with reckless abandon, and they look fantastic. I have to be able to do something. And I surprised myself with how good my first one was. My second one was a little rough. My third one got a little better, and fourth one improved from there. But then I started doing more abstract stuff, and I took spray paint, and then I got some acrylic paint markers and just started to try stuff. And I don't have a vision with this, and maybe that's a big red flag before you start an art project, but I've enjoyed putting paint onto something. And so I bought some nice paper. I went to the art store. I've been addicted to the art store for the past couple months as I'm enjoying paternity leave. I'm once again finding the same lessons. So we're gonna go through the 8 lessons and see how, as a video producer, these spray paint projects are affecting me as a creative professional. So number 1, do some research, find some examples. Finding the videos and stuff that walk me through this and doing some of the research on which products to use and stuff like that taught me a lot about, there's a lot more variation in spray paint than I thought. There's different compounds and pigments and propellants and all this stuff, and they don't all mix well, and you can't put some on top of the others. And then within that, there's some that have cool effects to them, and you can get silvery metallic ones, or you can get, this one crackles and looks like it's burned when it dries. And I sped that up by actually burning it a little bit, which I've seen people do in these videos. So there was so much more happening here than I thought when I first started, and it just got me more and more interested in wanting to try more and more stuff. And it started with a space painting, and then from there went into other things, and now just sort of abstract, putting paint on stuff and looking at the juxtaposition of colors and textures and enjoying that. Next up, where do I struggle? I'm gonna say the same thing, patience. And paint is such an unforgiving platform for patience, because it has to dry. And if you try to speed that up, it cracks, it warps, it changes its color. You have to let it dry, and in some cases cure, before you can do more stuff with it. And that impatience in me as a creator runs up against this wall. And in the last video, I talked about doing the logo for these videos, and I didn't like doing it, and I rushed it, but I could rush it, and it just made it worse. But with these, you can't rush them. You have to let them dry. You have to let them cure. And that adds this whole different approach to the project, where you may have this whole vision for it, but because it has to take you a week, because you're going to spray some, you're going to let it dry, you're going to let it cure, then you're going to use acrylic pens, or whatever you're doing, you can't do it all in 5 minutes. And that makes me step away from it and come back, and step away from it and come back. And that's not something I'm used to doing in video or in the graphic design project or in photography. It's the kind of thing where usually I do it and I'm done, and I'm excited to move on to the next thing. But this is forcing me to think differently. And that's been exciting. And I'm excited to take that back to video and force myself to take some breaks, force myself to step away more than I'm used to doing, and seeing how that affects the project, and revisiting it with fresh eyes, and new perspective and new research in between the times that I'm working on the project. So it's been my weakness in this, I think, can turn into a huge strength in video, and that's with my patience. Where did I thrive with this? It's hard to say. This is one that's more subjective, but I felt like I thrived with being able to get started. I think with the logo, I was staring and didn't know where to get started. I was starting and stopping and starting and stopping and redoing and starting over. And this was much easier for me to say, like, I think I want this. And whether or not I want that, I'm going to start working and see where it takes me. And again, I'm not trying to create something that I'm going to sell or something that's impactful and emotional. I'm experimenting with the platform, with the medium. And so the stakes aren't high. And for me, that's easier to just get started. So that's really where I thrived. What would I do differently next time? Nothing, just keep being more patient. And there will be a next time. This is one that I have 2 more pieces that I just started 3 days ago, that are painted. And then I'm going to go on and add some details and stuff to it and try to change it a little bit and see where it goes from there. How does this apply to my primary discipline? I talked about that. Learn some respect for experts. Absolutely. And the big thing that I noticed from the experts is they seem to have a good space to do this, and I really don't. And I was doing this in my backyard, and it's now December, and there's been like 2 days which have been like 50, and that's been nice enough to go outside and spray paint. But I don't have the space in my studio down here, and with kids in the house, I don't want to just fill this whole place with spray paint fumes. So setting things up properly and not just having the right gear, but the right space to do it and not rush it and be shivering outside and moving more quickly than I may want to, especially as I'm already struggling with patience. Shivering doesn't make me any more patient. So there's some thoughtfulness that the experts have put into this that I have not or haven't been able to yet, which is a lesson here. Bonus points for collaboration. I did a couple. I've been doing these with my son, and he's been spray painting too, and I'm learning from his mistakes and not mistakes necessarily. He like absolutely drenched something in spray paint the other day. And then we used a blowtorch to try to make it dry faster, and it popped and bubbled and boiled and looked awful, but it exposed all the other colors underneath, and it looked really cool. And I don't think I would have thought of doing that if I hadn't seen him accidentally do it. Accidentally. He's got a vision. He's an artist. I'm not here to step on his toes there. But this has just been a lot of fun. And I'd be excited to do this alongside someone else and see sort of in real time what they're doing with the project, while at the same time I'm doing something to do 2 takes on the same subject or something like that. I think would be interesting. And lastly, how much better would it be if I didn't feel shame? I don't think shame comes to play in this one. I felt pretty comfortable in this and got excited with my first results. And I feel like I'm in a spot where I'm liking doing this. And again, this isn't stuff that I'd sell or like put up and, hey, do you want to buy this? But hey, if you want to buy this though, let me know. But it's just been fun to experiment. And I think I've successfully uncoupled myself from shame in this. And maybe because it's more abstract by its design than graphic design is, designing a logo or drawing a face is. This is more subjective. And I think that makes it easier to be less concerned about what it looks like, because it can mean anything to anybody. I'm not going for something that can be measured against something else, really. That's what I got. That was fun for me, and I hope you try this one. And this one does take a bit of gear and expense to get started, but I mean, for $40, you can get a couple of colors of spray paint and some paper, or spray paint a picture frame, spray paint a chair, a lamp, something. My luggage is spray painted, not with anything neat, just with some pink and some blue, but it makes it really recognizable when it comes out of the bag claim, and no one's gonna, I'm not gonna have somebody accidentally take my bag. They may take it on purpose, but not accidentally. So try it, give it a shot, and see how doing a little bit of spray paint art affects you as a designer or a photographer or a coder or a writer or whatever it is that you do. That's all I got for this one. Have a great day or night or whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye.